Shane Curtis, thank you very much for joining me on the Fight Game podcast. So, I always start the exact same way by just asking you in your own words to introduce yourself.
Oh God, I'm terrible at this, but Shane Curtis, otherwise known as the Goth Lord. I'm a professional grappler and I'm a first degree black belt, and I train out of Nottingham MMA or Nottingham Grappling Club, whichever one we decide to choose.
So, the Goth Lord, like you say, that is probably why I first came across you. Guys in the gym talking about you. I think a few guys from the gym went to a seminar a little while ago, and that it definitely sticks out. People referring to you as the Goth
Yeah.
Lord. So, talk to me like where did that come from? Where did the moniker start to appear from?
It was all one person, and you should have heard of him, but Lloyd Cooper, otherwise known as the Yorkshire Gripper. I've been training with Lloyd like for quite a while. Yeah, since I was a purple belt, and it just called me it. Like it just like called me that or something similar to it, just like joking about, and and eventually I kind of just went with it and stuck with it. Like I thought, fuck it, why not? And because I know his nickname's done well for him, everyone knows him as the Yorkshire Gripper, and you're not supposed to choose your own nickname, are you? So I thought it was better off that I went with something that people have already been saying or calling me or whatever. And yeah, I just changed it on Instagram one day and went from there. And it's kind of I wouldn't say it's blown up, but like it's definitely helped with my niche and whatnot as well.
Yeah, 100%. Like you say, you can't really choose your own. They never stick when you choose your own nickname.
No,
But I
I
think,
think yeah,
go
I
on,
think
go on.
sometimes you can get away with it if it's cool. Like there is one guy in our gym that's kind of given himself a nickname based off of like stuff that people have said to him. His nickname is the Sorcerer, and like people kind of say, and like jujitsu wizardry and stuff like that. So he's gone with that. And to be fair, like I think it's quite a cool nickname.
Yeah, that's a cool
And
one.
and he is a sorcerer. He's so fucking good. He just got double gold at the weekend at Naga, 6 submissions. Don't think anyone lasted more than a minute 30 with him. He's a black belt. He's so good. Sam Colson, that is.
Crazy. So, I mean, that's probably a good time to dive in then because so you train out of Nottingham MMA, as you said. What do
Yeah.
you think it is up there? Because I know you teach some of the classes up there. You're obviously heavily involved. What do you think it is up there that you're generating such good talents?
Honestly, I don't actually know. I've always said this about myself. I'm just lucky, but obviously it's not just luck. It's hard work as well. But I don't know. it's the only gym I've ever been at, and our coach, Paul Lukowski, is by far one of the best black belts I've ever trained with. Like he, if when he's on form as well, you can't do a thing to him. No one can. He's about 100 kilo-ish, 105 kilos sometimes, and he's just a machine. Like he's so good, and I think because of him. It's the only reason I can think of why. But genuinely, I do think we've got one of the best gyms in the country. A little bit less known, getting more and more well known now. Like people know of Paul, they know of me, they know of Sam, they know of Mac Curtis, who, funnily enough, isn't my brother. But if people ask, we just go along with it. Like Riley Daniels, we've got there's so many good guys that are decent, got a decent name at our gym, and we're just getting more and more and more. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. It might just be because to be fair, there are quite a few gyms around. I don't know. It's hard to say. Dave Weston from Black Country BJJ always refers to his gym as the second best in the Midlands because he knows that we're better.
Nice. Well, that's it. That's high
Yeah,
praise. So, I mean, going back to the start a little bit because we've massively jumped ahead in your sort of
I do
story here.
that.
No, so I'm just as guilty of it. So I know you obviously you wanted to get into mixed martial arts as sort of like a teenager, and
Yeah.
then it didn't quite take, and then you come back to it in your sort of late teens, early 20s, and then to go from there to being a professional grappler is quite unheard of. You know, most of the guys who are doing it now have been doing it since
Since we're
since they were
kids.
like starting secondary school or even earlier. A
Yeah.
lot of them. So, What was that sort of journey like of starting at that later stage?
Um, so like for me, I don't know. When I started, I didn't start with the intention of necessarily becoming a full-time grappler. So in my early teens, I did a little bit. I lifted weights. I've always been athletic. I played rugby. I always did sports at school, like athletics and stuff. I was always just very sporty. Always like quite good at most things that I wanted to do. Had little like other hobbies on the side, skating, stuff like that. Stuff that I'd never stuck to anything. Did a bit of Jeet Kune Do when I was a kid after watching Enter the Dragon, and then eventually I kind of it was all because of the Jeet Kune Do, weirdly. Because I bumped it when I went to this particular gym that did it. They also did MMA as well. So I thought, oh, I'll give that a go. Like so, when I was 18, maybe 19. I did maybe one, two sessions of grappling for MMA at this gym. It was called Gym Combat in Nottingham, and it closed down. So nothing kind of like came of that until I bumped into someone from the gym who said, "Oh, we now train at this place." I did a little bit of boxing at another gym for a little bit, and then I stopped doing that, and then I bumped into another person that I trained with, one of the guys that I boxed with, and they were like, "Oh, we now train at Nottingham MMA." So he was like, "Come down." I was like, "All right." So I did. I went down, with fully with the intentions of doing MMA. Like that was definitely what I wanted to do. The fact that I wear glasses and my sight is horrific, and I have to wear contact lenses to train. And also at the time, I'd also had a torn ACL. And within my first session, I literally like my knee just gave way. And I remember thinking, fuck, need to get that sorted. So I did a couple of sessions here and there, like each week, maybe one MMA and one gi session a week for 6 months or so. Then I got a full ACL reconstruction on my knee. Um, and then I came back and I was intending to do MMA, but it just so happens the first session I came back to was a wrestling session because I forgot my gi. And I literally just did grappling. Like for a few months after the surgery, I ended up training maybe I don't know 3 times a week, and then a few months in, it was straight 5 times a week straight away. Wanted to compete, and it just went from there. Like I had normal jobs alongside it. I've worked in sales, I've worked in recruitment, I've worked in IT most recently. Um, and eventually it got to the point where I was able to go full time. Um, but yeah, when I started, it wasn't really like, oh, I'm going to do this as a job. It was just, I like this, I'm going to do it. And because of my ADHD, I've never ever been able to stick to anything. So whenever I've had a hobby, it never lasts for more than a couple of weeks, maybe a month at most. Sometimes I'll kind of like dip in and out of hobbies and stuff. But something about jiu-jitsu was just a bit different. I think that's the autism coming through, where I actually got obsessed with something, like a bit of a mix of both of what I've got. So I don't know, yeah. It was just something that I just stuck with, really, and was just obsessed with, I think, was the easiest way to put it.
Yeah, so and obviously that obsession has carried you a long way, as you say, starting at a relatively older age than most
Yeah, I was
people.
21, exactly 21
Yeah,
when I started.
21. So you're 10 years on now, so you're
Yeah,
31 now.
yes.
And so you competed at the weekend in
hmm
what I think was one of the sort of bigger wins of your career
If anything, I think it was like as far as his accomplishments go, it was yeah, probably my biggest win to date.
against Andres Ivat. I think that's how you say his
Yeah,
name. Took a little
sounds
bit of
about
like
right.
digging around on Instagram to find how to say it. And I went on afterwards because I was trying to find like the footage of the match. So
Hmm.
I had a look on his Instagram. He didn't seem too happy about the decision post fight.
Yeah, no,
I had
but
to, obviously this is translated, but he had a bit of a weird write up from it. He said,
oh yeah, I think that's
um,
just bad translation, I'll be
yeah,
honest. Talking about his
um,
shield.
yeah, talking about
Yeah,
going out on his shield or having his shield taken away from him
yeah.
or something. But in from your end, how was the match and how was it to get out
So
against such a high achiever?
So for me, like it was a last minute replacement. I had nothing to lose. I'm 15 kilos lighter than him. Like he was 100 kilo. I was 85. And the game plan was to wrestle a bit on the feet, hoping that he would actually try and take me down because there's no chance that I was going to shoot on someone that much bigger than me. Like there's just no chance. It'd just be silly. It'd be a very poor decision on my half if I did, especially considering I'm only really getting more and more comfortable with wrestling in comp now. Like it's taking its time, but like I feel quite confident. And he couldn't take me down. Didn't even get close to taking me down. Then after about 8.5 minutes of what was nothing really, just a load of hand fighting and whatnot, and he tried maybe one takedown, which didn't, yeah, it was not even close. Um, he was very fucking strong though. And then about 8.5 minutes in, I pull guard, and I was just trying to go for stuff, like actively trying to get bites on things, sweeps and whatnot. And in my head, it just felt like he didn't want to do anything. He just wanted to not lose or like not get caught, not get swept. It didn't feel like he was actively trying to pass, trying to attack anything. And then it went to a 2 minute overtime in the end. Like they went to a decision and the judges were like, we can't separate it. Let's go to an OT. So I was like, sound. And I was actually going to shoot on him. I was like, fuck it. Like there's 2 minutes. What's the worst going to happen if I shoot on him? He pulled guard though. Um, he pulled guard immediately. And then like I went for a front headlock and there was a little scramble. And then I went for a jumping triangle off of a scramble, but that was kind of poor decision on my half. I probably shouldn't have done that. However, I played guard after that. I got a couple of good bites on a shoulder crunch, which is one of my stronger positions for sweeping with, especially on bigger guys. And I don't know, he probably didn't do it on purpose, but he poked me in the eye to get out of it. Um, and like, it just felt like he wasn't doing things. He just wasn't trying to progress. And he wasn't trying to win. Like it's trying in my head, so trying not to lose, I feel like. And then the last 20 seconds, I tried to goth lock him, and I feel like I got a good like attempt at an attempt, if that makes sense. And then I think because of that, because they could just see me trying to move, I was trying to heist up on him. I was trying to like push and pull and like get under him, but he just was not moving. Like if you went against 100 kilo black belt and went, all you need to do is just don't move and don't let me move. It's kind of easy. But because I think that's what got it for me, and he wasn't happy with it.
Mm.
But my girlfriend said to me, and it makes so much sense. He outweighs me by 15 kilos. At that level, if he is that much better than me, he should be throwing me around. Like, and
Yeah,
I respect him
100%.
massively for taking the match against someone smaller, taking the match against someone who is arguably less accomplished. Like I don't have the wins that he has. He got ADCC trials bronze, Euro black belt adult silver. Like that's impressive. Like and I respect him. So that's why it's for me, it's my biggest win to date. Like because of what he's accomplished. I might have a bigger name just because I'm good at I don't know. I'm good at doing that. like, but yeah, I was happy with getting that and but it has shown me that maybe I should just avoid bigger divisions if I want to have a good match.
Yeah, I suppose it's so much easier to stall or be somewhat negative when you're the much bigger guy. That's it that way. It's always getting the sponsors in, and we're going to come onto that as well. But so that was a super fight, and as you
Yes.
mentioned there, he's got numerous medals and whatnot in various tournaments on the world
Right.
stage and whatnot. But I know that you don't tend to go into that many tournaments, whether it be ADCC trials or even IBJJF trial
Hmm.
tournaments and that. Talk to me about why you prefer to go down the super fight format.
I think for me, I'm better at them. I do find them more enjoyable and there's more money in it. I think that's pretty much it. I am going to try and get out of the habit of only doing super fights. So I did a tournament a couple of weeks ago where I did the plus 97 division actually. So I had two like 100 plus guys in my division and I won that. Um, just last minute one. I convinced myself that I wasn't good at tournaments because sometimes I'll like get scored on and make in a silly move, doing something stupid and lose to someone I shouldn't lose to. And like it kind of I put a bit too much pressure on myself, I think, to win tournaments. Um, so that's why I think I was more up for super fights. So, but I am now going to try and push the tournaments a little bit more. I'm going to do the next trials. I'm going to do the Euros as well in Rome. You know, the Euros at the end of the year, October time.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, I just need to get myself out of that bad mindset.
Yeah, that's it. Because I suppose with it's difficult because you would almost imagine that the super fights have more pressure on them. But I can see what you mean.
Mm,
Where when you go into the tournaments, it's a lot more of a having quite a big name in the UK space. You're under that microscope a little bit when you go to the tournaments because
yeah.
most people do know you. You're very recognisable. You can see you as soon as you pop up on the socials, but that sort of brings us on to your brand. So as you mentioned there, there's a lot more money in super fights and whatnot. You are probably one of the very few guys on the UK MMA scene who's able to make a full-time living off of being a professional grappler, which
Mm,
is definitely not an easy task, particularly when, although you coach at the gym, you don't own the gym, which is the route most athletes would go down. How have you been able to like navigate making this a full-time career and being able to like I saw like 8 9 months ago like buy a house with your partner and whatnot, which most professional athletes, let alone in grappling, but in combat sports in general, can not even really dream of at most points.
mm. I think so. I'll give props to Becca, my girlfriend, because if it wasn't for her, I don't know how long it would have been until I did go full time. We were like, I had throughout lockdown, I had a job working in IT for Hillary's Blinds. And I was furloughed for quite a bit, so I didn't work at all. I did a few PTs throughout that. Then I ended up working from home for maybe September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. No, yeah, 9 months or so. Um, and then it got to the point where they were like, "You need to come back to the office now," and I was just like, "I can't, like, I can't do it now. Like, there's just no way I can do it." I'd been doing a few PTs on the side of my actual work as well, and it just so happens that there was a normal gym that we used to go to as well. It was like a kind of like a class-based gym sort of thing, and they were looking for a fitness instructor. So Becca just said to me, "Look, just go full time. If for some reason you can't afford 1 month the rent, don't worry, I'll sort it." And I applied for the job as a fitness instructor. I got the job as a fitness instructor, and then I just quit. And touch wood, I've never missed rent or now mortgage. And I think because I'm trying to find loads of different ways of making revenue, that helps me as well. I'm not just relying on PTs. So like I'll clean the gym, I do classes at the gym, I do PTs. Now I'm like I aim to get minimum of one seminar a month. I sell rash guards, I sell t-shirts sometimes, like apparel and whatever with my designs on. Do graphic design for grappling. Like I do posters for individuals or like for Valhalla, for example, or some other shows. There's one called Heist as well. I do posters for them for their shows. Like I do a little bundle package where I'll do all of their posters. They just send me the photos and I'll design them and whatever. So I'm just and instructionals. Um, so I'm just trying to make money in loads of different ways. I think that is a big one. And of course, shout out to my sponsors, Scramble, Subguards, Brotherhood, Role Models, Vigorate, BJJ Nutrition. Who else we got? Um, missed any? Combat Fuel.
That's it. That's the
Like,
time you cannot miss
yeah.
any. When you once you start, you can't
Oh,
stop.
it's
You got to get
so
them all.
annoying. My memory is fucking terrible too. But yeah, they help me as well. Like I get paid monthly by some of those, or some just help as and when. Like is what it is. But yeah, I have enough money. Like I can save. We bought a house. Like I'm able to do what I want. I'm able to just do my job that I enjoy. Um, so yeah, it's just kind of for me the best way to say it is like just do as much as you can to make money, like in the space that you are teaching in or whatever.
Yeah, of course. Because I mean, being around combat sports and being around guys who are starting their professional careers, starting their amateur careers in mostly MMA, a few boxing and whatnot. In my experience, it's so hard for guys to be able to make that leap to full time.
Yeah.
So with your brand that you've carved out for yourself, what do you think it is that sort of has set you apart, but not even so much on the outside looking in, like from your end, what do you think it is that set you apart in your marketing and your branding that's allowed the Goth Lord brand to take off?
I think it's just the fact that there's no one else. Like it is my niche. No one else is in my niche. Like anytime anyone sees anything that could be remotely Goth Lord-esque, people will be like, oh, they're copying Shane. Like Tatami, for example, did a Gothic rash guard, which was just like Gothic Sans, whatever, old English font. And everyone was like, oh, they copied you. Like it was just stuff like that. Like it all kind of comes back to me. And I think there is no one else who kind of like looks like me, has a style like mine. Like I'm also very unorthodox too. It's not just like I'm boring. Um, like I have a unique style and a unique style in jiu-jitsu, unique style in aesthetically. Like I think because a lot of people who do jiu-jitsu can't relate to just an average grappler, like just someone that's really good, but they don't really have a brand. When you see someone else that has tattoos that likes heavy music, then I think you kind of like go towards that a little bit more, don't you? Like when you see someone, it's like, huh, that's kind of like me.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And like you say, you do have a very unique style when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Do you think you've sort of molded that? Because I've heard you say before that you don't enjoy drilling at all. You much
Yeah.
prefer live rounds or even drilling during rounds with lower belts. Do you think you've sort of molded that unique style by not having that sit down, listen, drill, and then put into practice later sort of format that most gyms go by?
So I say that I don't like drilling, which is true. Like I can drill things here and there that I enjoy. For example, I went to an Espen seminar the other weekend, at Ben Robson's gym, and because of what he was showing, I enjoyed it because it was sick. Like it was just stuff I didn't really know, and little details from him and whatnot. Having said that, though, I was in a three, so I didn't have to do as much. Um, but yeah, I think I've drilled for as long as I've trained in the sense that, like, when I go to classes, I had to obviously partner up with someone I drill with them, but
Hmm.
it's not really going in. It's
Yeah.
just doing it for the sake of it. And like, I will drill now if Becca wants to train, like in that, like if she wants to do that particular class, I'll do it with her. Like, because she trains, she's a purple belt as well. Um, but like, if it was my choice, and as of late, I've changed all of my coaching to CLA based, or you might have heard of it as ecological,
Hmm.
which is essentially, in a nutshell, very, very specific sparring. So yeah,
Yeah.
but even before that, um, and I've always had this unorthodox style. I just like to roll. That was it. I didn't even really do specific sparring coming up. I just would roll and I'd just try and win. Like, and I think because I like try and win from anywhere, I think, but it's hard to actually pinpoint why I've got a unique style. It just happened.
Mm, that's it.
That's
It's
the best thing.
just
I think that's the
developed over
best way to
time.
put it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
fair
was
enough.
always like, without being too cocky, I was always just good. Like, because I was always athletic and people have always told me how strong I am. Like, even when I first started, I remember submitting a blue belt with an Americana from his own close guard when I was a white belt. Like, that was like, I think that was my first ever blue belt I subbed. And that was only after a few months after I came back from surgery.
Yeah, there you
Um,
go.
yeah, so I've just enjoyed sparring. And I think that's the best way to put it. There's no reason why I've got an orthodox style. It just so happens that I gravitated towards it.
Yeah, so as you said there, you've completely changed your coaching and training setup recently. How
Mm.
does it look different to what you were doing before?
So before, I would like for my own personal training, I'd just roll, like kind of try and think, oh, I'll work on this today, I'll work on that. Like now, I get someone, Andrew from Brotherhood Performance. He is also in his own gym, the Grappling Society, and all of his gym is CLA based. And me and him have always kind of had bits of conversations about it over the years because he does my S&C for me as well. And what happened is I went to a seminar with PJ Barch, and I didn't know it was going to be CLA. For those that don't know, that stands for Constraint-Led Approach, which is the ecological kind of like method made fun of famous by Greg Souders. And I just wasn't interested in it. Now, I don't know why, because it is just sparring. I don't know how I didn't just look at a way to get better, and it's sparring. It should be a
Yeah,
no-brainer.
perfect.
Yeah, but I went to the seminar, didn't know it was going to be CLA. Turns out it was CLA, and I just loved it. Me and Becca went together, and we were able to train together with it. Like, despite the size and like level difference, we were still able to get good training out of it together, which I also really liked. And yeah, it just from there on, it was just like, why have I not been doing this? So I've been doing all of my coaching at my classes are CLA based. So most of the time I join in with it as well, where I'm able to. And then a lot of my PTs, they're all CLA based. At the moment, my seminars are still my seminars because it's going to take me a while to actually be able to kind of learn how to develop a seminar from
Yeah,
stuff like that. Because of the games and stuff are quite hard to put together. And I'm slowly learning how to do it. Um, so like now in my own training, Andrew will give me, I'll either have games he'll give me. So if I can find a partner to do the games with, then I'll do that. Or he'll give me intentions. Intentions are when you have goals and stuff and constraints, but it doesn't matter if the other person's not joining in with the game. So I'm
yeah,
able to
makes
still
sense.
do that sort of constraint-led approach in like without the other person doing it. Um, Sometimes I do just end up rolling, but yeah, that's kind of how I'm trying to improve now. And I think
Yeah,
for me, it just
nice.
makes more sense because I'm able to get more out of a session. Like drilling doesn't go in my head anyway, so I may as well get more out of a session for an extra 40 minutes where I would have been drilling. Instead, I'm just sparring extra. So even if I don't learn anything, I'm still getting a workout. So
Yeah,
it
nice.
just makes complete sense.
So, speaking of getting a workout in, as you mentioned there, you go to Brotherhood Performance for your S&C.
Hmm.
How long have you been doing that, and how much of an impact do you think the frequent S&C, a couple of times a week, getting the training in, has made a difference? Particularly where, as you say, you went up against an 100 kilo black belt world medalist at the weekend.
Yeah.
And like, what are you sort of walking around at? What's your walk around weight?
I'm about 85, 86. I
There you
fluctuate a
go.
little bit. I've been up to over 90 before, but it wasn't really for me. It went up a bit too fast. But I've been working with Andrew for quite a while. The first time I worked with Andrew, I just signed up for one of his £10 a month programs for 12 months. And then I was going to have an MMA fight. This was literally just before lockdown. And I had an MMA fight booked, and I said to Andrew, "Oh, could you help me? Like, would you mind helping me?" And he kind of just sponsored me from there. And it's because he's quite far away in Chorley, um, which is about 2.5 hours away from me.
Mm.
So he sends everything over. He'll send me like check-ins and stuff like video calls. Sometimes we'll just send each other voice messages there and back. So he'll send me my programs and stuff, and then I'll just do them. I do them as and when I get time. But yeah, Andrew, he's so knowledgeable. He's like, for me, he's bang on, and we get on really well too. We like same music and stuff like that, and um, yeah, for me, it's just important in it. Like, why would you not do it? Like, you're good at grappling. There's being good at grappling, like being able to like do the grappling, but then, like, if you're not doing strength and conditioning, you're not going to be robust enough. You're not going to be able to take knocks. You're not even going to be able to physically do things as well without being strong. Like, I mean, I've got spare time, so why would I not? Like, for me, it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, 100%. And like you say, that allows you to keep up with the big lads like you did at the weekend, but also the guys on the highest level you always see are constantly doing their S&C, constantly lifting. I know you went over and trained with some of the guys at like B Team in the past, and as
Yeah.
you say there, you done like one of PJ Barch's seminars. When you were out there, I heard you say it more than anything just reaffirmed to you that you are on that level with those guys.
Yeah.
How has it sort of like affected your confidence since then? Because I know it was quite a long time ago now that you can carry yourself into these matches knowing like you've gone in and held your own or more than held your own with some of the best guys in the world.
Mm. Um, if anything, like it just helps my confidence. Like performance anxiety is something I do struggle with, but like it just like you say, it reaffirms like what I know I'm capable of doing. But also, what it really does help is it shows that the UK isn't too far behind. If anything, we're just on the same level. The way I like to explain it is we're on the same level, but they've just got more better guys, more of the higher level because there is just more of them.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
like if you look at how well the UK scene's doing on a world stage, like yeah, we haven't got loads of people, but we do have a good amount. If you were to like compare it to the amount of people like in the world, sorry, in America compared to in the UK, it's probably not like in proportion, it's probably not that far off. Like they're good guys and our good guys. I think just yeah, I think because my gym, I genuinely believe we are like one of the best gyms in the country. Like, and people always, we always get compliments for that, how good people are at our gym. And it just, and when I go away and I come home, I don't really feel, it doesn't feel too much different. It's just when you're away, it's a little bit like stranger danger.
Yeah,
Like it is a little bit more anxiety filled because you don't know the person. But then like I will go away and most of the time I know people, they know me and stuff like that. And you get good training. Like, yeah. So it's good to, yeah, it's just good to know, innit? So like you know that you're never gonna go up against someone. As long as I perform how I can in the gym, that's just like my aim. My biggest goal is to be able to perform in competition like I can in the gym. So that's what I'm working towards. So if I know I can do that, then I can beat anyone in my day. Like
yeah.
Paul, my coach, I was talking to him Saturday evening. He popped into the gym when Becca was lifting weights, and we're talking about my match the next day. And like one thing actually really helped me, I think, confidence levels for my match. He was just like, "Look, I know you can beat anyone. Like, on your day, you can beat anyone." And like I know like it maybe have thought that before where he's never properly said it to me. So I was just like, oh, okay. Um and yeah, I just fuck, I don't even know what we're going off on a bit of a tangent there, but
That's
yeah.
fine. That's all
It's just
good.
good, yeah, it's just good to know that it's not that different. Just because they're far away and there's more of them, it's not that different.
Yeah, I think that is the thing as well. I think one of the other things, and this is something I want to get onto, is all the biggest competitions are over there. And now there's some money coming into the sport, but previously they're not willing to pay to take the best guys from this side of the world over there. So you're either
Mm,
paying your own way to go, or you may be getting pennies for the exposure.
yeah,
Whereas now there's money coming into the sport. You know, we've got obviously ADCC, you've got CJI, you've got Who's Number One, you've got all sorts, you've got UFC, obviously. You'd like to think, and we're seeing it a little bit, that these companies or these competitions are going to be willing to invest in bringing the best European talent over to the States.
yeah.
And how do you think sort of the landscape of jiu-jitsu over the next 2 or 3 years is going to change in that element with the introduction of UFC BJJ?
I don't know because you're hearing so much about UFC BJA now, and like I was supposed to be on it, and then I just never heard anything again. So I don't really know. It's hard for me to say. Like I do think it's a good thing, but I would like to see more UK guys on it. Hopefully that will then happen because there's been no guys from no, as far as I know, there's been no males from the UK. Theon is the only one person from the United
Mm.
Kingdom who has been on it, as far as I know. I can't think of anyone else. No, I can't. I could be wrong. So if someone can correct me, that'd be great. But I don't think I'm
No,
right. I don't
I
think
think
I'm
you're
wrong.
right. I can't think of anyone who's been on.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. You'd like to think, at least, you know,
Because
I'm a big,
I'd even pay for myself to go on it, like pay for my flights or whatever, if I needed to. I've done that plenty of times, or sponsors have helped me, shall I say. But yeah, I think that's still a bit of a that is still a bit of a kind of like a bit of a wall because they still don't want to pay people because they could get me or I could get someone else who is equally as good, shall we say, but not pay $500, $600 for a flight. Like
Yeah,
it's
which
kind of
when you
like,
think is the UFC is absolutely insane. Like,
yeah. But even other
um,
shows, I mean, as well. Like I've been on other shows out there too.
mm,
EBI was sound; they paid for everything. But like other shows, like smaller shows, which are still kind of big, but not big enough to pay for your flights. So I kind of have to make a trip out of it,
yeah,
like so I
that's
can
it. And you
take it
almost
off my taxes or whatever.
yeah doing seminars and whatnot when you're over there to
Yeah,
try and make it worth your while. Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's a good time to be in the sport. Like, I come from a striking background. I grew up boxing, done some
Mm,
MMA. That was my introduction to BJJ.
right.
And I feel like it's now very easy to try and keep up with BJJ as a spectator because I'm not actively seeking it out and I'm still able to keep up to date with what's
That's
happening
good.
in the world of BJJ. So I
Yeah.
think it's a great time to be in. I think there's a lots of the more competitions, the better, the more opportunities for the athletes, the better. But if I was to say to you, like, I'm going to give you the keys to jiu-jitsu as a sport, what are you doing to make the biggest improvements? That it could be from a grassroots like sports hall level all the way up to the
Mm.
top for the pro athletes.
Sorry, someone just knocked at my fucking
No,
front
go on, mate.
door. So what? The keys to jiu-jitsu.
That's it. I'm giving you the keys and saying like make it
Mm.
better. What are you doing?
It's a tough one. I think there's a lot of things that definitely need to be improved, changed. I think it's going the right way. Um, I I don't know. I definitely need to make sure that like more people are protected in the sport. Like there are definitely people that shouldn't be in the sport that are. Um, as I'm sure you know, with all these different things that are coming out at the moment, without going into it too in depth, I definitely think there should be a level of protection, especially for minors and whatnot in the sport. Um, I think that is quite a difficult question. One thing that I do believe, and I think this would be good for jiu-jitsu, but more just good for the general public, is all police officers should train jiu-jitsu. Like that is one of my biggest gripes with law enforcement. Like I'm pro law enforcement, of course. I'm pro military, pro whatever, but everyone that does any sort of dangerous job should train jiu-jitsu. It's embarrassing when they don't. And I think that would help pro jiu-jitsu if it was just more, this was just more popular. That's always going to help. Um, but yeah, that's just, if anything, that's just my biggest gripe
No,
with
that's
things like
fair.
that. Like
And
it
yeah,
just
I'm with you on
frustrates
that.
me.
I'm with you on that 100%. I think that's right. My local gym where I used to compete out of, we used to have seminars for the local police stations and whatnot.
Yeah,
And that is, it's one of the greatest things about jiu-jitsu, isn't it? Is you'll have a fella leading the class who's like an ex-con, and you've got a room full of like old Bill learning
yeah,
how to improve at that. It's self-defense and also how to take care of people at the same time. But
yeah.
no, that is completely fair. Coming back to you and your jiu-jitsu, I want to talk to you about, and you might not even know what I'm talking about. I was looking at a video and it come up weeks ago on
Mm.
my page, and I was looking at it again today of you in one of the deepest rear naked choke escapes that I've seen probably ever. So when you're drilling, because I know some people, we hear from an MMA background, Volkanovski talking about before going in against these really good grapplers, being put in deep submissions.
Yeah.
How often are you drilling, being in worst case scenario positions and getting out of them?
Well, I'm lucky that I do have someone as good as Paul and then as good as some of the other guys in my gym that can put me in danger and that do put me in danger. That specifically was actually the first match that I had after using a mental performance coach, where historically, if someone took my back, I'd be done for. Like my back defense was not very good, really. And I remember I was winning that match. It was literally the only thing he did because I made a silly mistake. And I know exactly what I did. It was just put my arm in the wrong place when going for the Goth lock, and he took my back. I remember thinking to myself, "You are not gonna fucking lose this. Like you've done, you're winning. Like why do not lose this." So I just put my hands behind my head, found his like the meaty part of his thumb, and I like peeled that back, and then I grabbed the rest of his hand, pulled it over my head, and just turned into him. They didn't even think about it. Apart from all I thought was, "Don't lose this, you fucking idiot."
Yeah, and I'll lay the video over this, but you actually end up completely reversing the position and ending up on top. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming you won the match, like you say, it was the
Yep.
only thing the guy done.
There's a minute. There was a minute left. He was tired. I was tired. Nothing much happened after that. Him trying to pass, but me not letting him. Um,
Yeah. How do you
yeah.
think? So I've heard you talking about before working with a mental performance coach. How do you think in moment? Obviously, it helps you overall, of course. How do you think in moments like that it allows you to keep calm and focus on the task rather than starting to panic and think and potentially rush in and making more of a mistake?
I think it just gives you a bit more clarity of the situation. But what I do believe is probably the biggest thing is just repetition. So the more you compete, the more clarity you have when you compete. Like, I remember my first match as a blue belt. I remember I won 18-0. It was in the gi. He was a judo black belt as well and a blue belt. I don't remember anything about that match. Literally, I remember afterwards coming off after I'd won, thinking, I don't know what happened there. I know I won, but I don't remember it. And then the more and more and more you compete, the more you can recall. And then eventually you can be in the moment, which is kind of the point I'm at now. I know what's happening, which I think is what that really just comes down to, if you are in the moment or not. And it's just that due to doing it more, like competing more, being in that environment, having that pressure more, having that level of anxiety, not letting the anxiety take over, just understanding that anxiety is normal. That's the biggest thing for me. That I would try to not get nervous, which is not the right thing. You just let it happen and just know it's normal.
Yeah, absolutely. I find myself like as a coach having to remind people that you like before your fight you were telling me you're like I'm a bit worried because I'm not very nervous, and then before the fight when they're hyperventilating and they're like look like they're going to cry and you go like just remember you wanted to be nervous, this is a good thing, this is a
Yeah.
positive. And then like you say being able to be present when you're on the mat. So we always say, like I always say to my lads, that activity breeds success. Being out as often as possible and competing is one of the most valuable things you can do.
Hmm.
Would you suggest from white belt all the way through to black belt that the best way to improve is to get on those mats as often as possible and compete?
Yeah, definitely. It's something I didn't do enough of. Like, I wish that I'd done more. I did a good amount, but I should have done more. I shouldn't have just let the anxiety stop me. I shouldn't have just let the idea of maybe losing stop me. Like now, I'm probably at a point where I probably shouldn't do that constantly. Some people have kind of said, but yeah, definitely on the lower belts, just doesn't give a fuck. Like nothing matters until I always say nothing matters until you're a black belt, and even then, it doesn't really matter.
No, that's it. That's it. Right. Well, the last thing I want to ask you is, and you've mentioned about your eyes already, but I've heard you say before that at some point you will have a professional MMA fight just to tick it off
Right?
the bucket list.
Yep,
Is that still on the cards?
100%. Yeah, I was actually, and if I want to, I have also now I'm allowed to do a bare knuckle fight for BKFC if I want. Like pretty much, like they will have me if I want to. And I was going to,
Hmm.
um, but then I ended up getting in talk to UFC about being on there. So I just thought, I'll just put that aside for now. So the idea is I'll have one MMA fight and one bare knuckle
Fair enough.
before
I will
before I
say,
finish.
I've boxed my whole life, done MMA, big gloves, little gloves, and I was like, fuck that. You're a braver man than me, mate. Fair enough.
Not for a while, but it'll happen one day. Because
Yeah,
I
nice
want
man.
I just have an influencer. Just give me one of them.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly.
Just give me
That's
an
it. You want to
influencer
get like a
or
misfits
I'll
bare
knock
knuckle
out.
match.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Wait, when I get to 100,000 followers and people go, "Who's that?" They're like, "Yeah." Then they'll find me one of those bums.
Yeah, that's it. You go and fight with a load of hay bales around you in someone's
Perfect.
farm. Right, I want to say thank you very much, Shane, for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. First out and out grappler to be on the pod.
Oh, awesome.
Only episode 6. We've had pro MMA, but no grapplers so far. So really appreciate your time. I think it's going to be a really good listen for the guys who so far have just been tuning in for the boxers. So
Yeah.
thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate it, and just wishing you luck with everything that's coming up for the rest of this year.
Thank you, dude. Appreciate you having me on, mate. I've enjoyed it.
Top man. Right, take care of
Cool.
yourself, mate. Thank you very
Take
much.
care.